Lord.
Lord Vivek, we don't need the help of this outlander.
Oh hush, Archcanon Tarvis. Outlanders have their usefulness, and this one intrigues me.
As you say. I'll be in my office if you need me.
Step forward, friend of Levoul, and let us speak. Canon Levoul says you helped him in his mission. As I have written, the one who helps my ally becomes my friend. Despite the Archcanon's concerns, I greet you with sincerity and pose a simple question. Will you assist us further, Outlander?
두말없이 도움 필요하냐고 물어보네.
I have ordinators and armigers at my disposal. Vast armies of followers and dedicated priests. What I don't have, however, is a fresh perspective. Will you set aside your personal goals for a time and become the eyes and ears of a god? Good. I need assistance to investigate a strange phenomenon that the ancestor confirmed may indeed be a problem. We'll start with a simple divination ritual. Archcanon Tarvis can tell you what we need to delve into this mystery. The situation that troubles me has taken a toll on my Archcanon, but he's a faithful servant. Tarvis will do as I say, and I say we need your assistance. Find the Archcanon in his office, and he'll tell you how to proceed. The Daedric Prince. I suppose the same events that concern me might interest Azura, though she could just as easily be the source of these troubles. Red Mountain, strange Daedra, and then there's... well, we'll talk more about that when you return.
뭐 숨기는 게 있네.
Levoul's ancestor assured me that a source of power remains safe. As for the rest, let the guess ripen in the mind, and only speak when the fruit grows certain.
Ah, Outlander. Lord Vivek trusts too much to put his faith in one such as you, but who am I to question my god? I suppose he sent you to me so I could put you to work? Did he say which task he wants us to accomplish first?
탐지의식.
Ah, yes. We do need to perform a ritual to reveal the nature of the phenomenon that vexes Lord Vivek. Now listen, despite my objections, Vivek believes you were sent to help, so I'll do my best to assist you. Go to the ziggurat that's still under construction and tell the overseer that Lord Vivek... You receive a simple errand in the service of Lord Vivek and countless questions.
야, 질문 봐.
Mind. Very well.
축복의돌.
Ah, the ignorance of outlanders. How refreshing. The Blessing Stones serve as repositories for small amounts of Lord Vivek's power. They allow his... If you haven't guessed yet, the phenomenon interferes with Lord Vivek's power in unusual ways. It will be safer for everyone if I perform. Even if I told you, you wouldn't comprehend it. Lord Vivek's senses eclipse those of mere mortals. Suffice it to say, he feels a disturbance in the flow of energy throughout Vardenfell. Lord Vivek sees signs and portents everywhere. It's the poet at his core. I tend to be much more pragmatic. Sometimes a volcano is simply a volcano. Offend me? You give yourself too much credit. No, I feel the same about all Outlanders. This is tribunal business, best handled by tribunal resources.
This project has been nothing but one disaster after another.
맨날
How
이래.
am I expected to get this ziggurat built on time? Our blessing stone? Do you know what happens if we give up our blessing stone? Well, neither do I. But I'm sure it won't put us back on schedule
재난?
or end our string of disasters. I'm not one to Lord Vivek! Well, why didn't you say so? But I'll need your help before I can turn over the blessing stone. The passage that leads to the consecration. I appreciate the help. Just remember that you're only borrowing the stone. It needs to be back in the consecration chamber before the next shift.
The Outlander returns. I understand there was trouble at the construction site, but you were able to save a few of the workers. Lord Vivek, Stand over there. In Canon Level's absence, you will form the third corner of our ritual triangle. When you're... Hear the words of the warrior poet and reveal the source of Lord Vivek's distress. An Ashlander? A clockwork mage? A Daedric cultist?
뭐야, 부셔진 거야?
Something interfered with the ritual, my lord. But we may have learned something. Excuse me while I compare the results to our previous research.
Between the cryptic warnings of the ancestor spirit and the unexpected result of the divination ritual, I fear there may be more astir than I imagined. We solved the greatest mysteries by accident, I suspect. I should write them. We learn from every action we take. Failure or success, each result teaches us something, at least in the larger sense. To be more specific, no, not as much as I hoped.
맞아, 환영.
Images that suggest avenues to investigate, riddles to solve. Let me tell you a secret, Outlander. It concerns a living god and energy that fades like daylight as dusk spreads across the land. Listen well, and speak not a word. My divine energy, it drains away. Whether from illness or foul malady, I know not. You must travel the land and seek answers on my behalf.
뭐라는 거야?
First, gratitude before service, as I have written. So, the ritual confirmed my worst fears. Divine energy flows out of me for no reason that I can discern. I felt the power imbued within my blessing stone get wrenched away as soon as you added it to the ritual. I couldn't stop it. To quote my own words as the warrior poet, no lock exists that the determined thief cannot open. Follow the trail of my missing energy. Something drains my energy. Find Archcanon Tarvis in his office and ask if he gleaned anything useful from the ritual. If not, I know his earlier research indicated new avenues to invest. My divine energy diminishes with every passing moment, but the ritual confirmed my affliction is not natural. I regret that I could not reveal the full nature of these dire circumstances until your
아직 신뢰도가 없네.
trustworthiness demonstrated. Yes. While Archcanon Tarvis has always been cautious about ideas and ideologies that didn't originate within the tribunal, and recently, that prudence has grown 1,000-fold.
아이고야.
He's a faithful servant, however, despite his narrow-mindedness. I've always used my power freely and without detriment. I create the blessing stones, hold the moonlit above the city, and perform 100 miracles a day to benefit my people. I begin to feel the toll this liberal application of divinity costs me. I care little for my own safety, but my people are another matter. Without my power to stop it, the moonlit will crash into the city and kill hundreds, perhaps thousands of innocents. And that would be just the start of Vardenfell's woes.
아, 여기 바덴펠인데. 수정! 바벤텔. 나 왜 딴 걸로 기억했지?
At first, I barely noticed the loss of energy. But as I continue to grow weaker, the more it feels like an attack against my person. Besides, the ancestor spirit confirmed that an ancient enemy was to blame. We just need to determine who before...
우리들?
Let us not dwell on disasters to come when we have problems enough to deal with in the here and now. Consult with Archcanon Tarvis and discover the source of this attack. Then we can put an end to it and not worry about what might have been. They always chide me about my flagrant displays of divinity, but so far, I am the only one of the living gods whose power is fading. Almalexia hoards her energy and has barricaded her temple against attack. As for Sotha Seal, my brother travels. We have not heard from him for quite some time, but I sense that he remains safe and in possession of his full power. Funny, you always wanted to discover the limits of our divinity. Perhaps I will solve that mystery for him.
I performed that ritual countless times, and it never exploded in my face before. If I discover that you sabotaged the divination... No. I shouldn't take my failure out on you.
그거 얘기해도 되나?
It's not your fault that things are. How do you know about... Lord Vivek told you? Of course he did. It's his prerogative, I suppose. You must swear to keep this secret, though. There would be panic in the streets if the people believed what was
신뢰를 어느 정도 얻은 상태구만.
hesitated. It's true. I'm much better at scholarly pursuits than field work, and the ritual wasn't a total failure. It confirmed 3 locations from my earlier studies: Bolmora, Aldrin, and Berelzar's tower. I need you to investigate each of these sites. I researched what I could using the resources available here in Vivek City. To learn more, I need an agent to personally assess each location. Lord Vivek thinks you're the best one. I believe the mage seen in the ritual is Berelzar, who works out of an ancient Velothi tower. His experiments radiate energy similar to Vivek's affliction,
발모라?
but they're not a perfect match. House Redoran controls the town and nearby mines. House Halalu also has interests in the region. Rumors of
교단?
attacks in the area concern me. I have no idea. That's why we're sending you. I suggest you start at the inn. Secrets get spilled along with the drinks in such places. The miners may know something as well. I've heard that House Redoran...
알들은
Savage Ashlanders, like the one seen in the vision, use the area as a tribal meeting ground. These nomadic heretics deny the divinity of the tribunal and have no love for Vivek. But how they could... I traced tendrils of Vivek's energy to these locations, and the ritual confirmed the connection before it went awry. Just don't discuss Lord Vivek's condition with anyone. We don't want to start a panic.
뭔가
I
아십니까?
love seeing new faces. For a while, it was just the same old miners and the occasional traveling merchant. Thought Carolyn might have to shut this place down. Look at me talking your ears off. What can I get you? At first, I assumed it was the usual house squabbles. Redoran and Hlalu arguments can get pretty heated. Then I thought maybe the Ashlanders were scaring people off. But after that proclamation... No.
돈? 18원? 내가 18원 있나?
stranger.
자!
I like the color of your gold, Outlander. Just between us, I heard the House Guard shut down the Shulk ore mine. Something to do with violent cultists who attacked the miners and took over the place. Even got the crew chief, or so I heard.
아, 혼달프.
You shouldn't be here. Didn't you read the House Redoran proclamation? I wouldn't be here myself, but some of my miners are still in there. Our mine was invaded by violent cultists. They showed up and just took the place over. My people are trapped. I'm no expert, but it looked like the cultists were preparing to conduct a ritual before the
위식.
Ashlander interrupt. Probably because I heard one of them say, "With this ritual we'll call forth a mystical weapon and attain the power of a god," or something along those lines. Look, well, I never actually saw an Ashlander, but I heard a cultist yell,
부엉가 훔쳐갔네.
"Ashlander thief! That's our mystical weapon!" That's not an exact quote, but you get the idea. I don't know what happened after that. I was kind of busy trying not to die. It used to be an ore mine, and we hope it will be again. My crew was inside preparing to start up mining operations when the cultists attacked. The way things are going, we might just have to turn the place into another Kwama egg mine. Really? That's awfully brave of you. If you see any of my miners, tell them to get their arses out here. I'll wait as long as I can. Or until I hear screaming. Then I'll go to Balmore. Did you find what you were looking for in the mine?
그런 거 생존자가 없었네.
Of course. I perfectly understand. I think I'll wait a little longer and see if any of my miners were able to escape from the cultists.
I demand to see my brother. Lay hands upon me, and you will lose them. You there! The territory of the Red Exiles shouldn't be traveled lightly. Ashlanders once respected each other, helped one another. You'd think these were house wolves or tribunal dogs, the way they treated me. Speaking of the tribunal, you have the smell of dog about you. Lord Vivek, is it? And I thought all the tribunal cared about was building monuments to their own greatness. Nice to see that one of them cares about what's going on beyond their borders. Well, perhaps we can aid each other this day, Outlander. Ashlanders are nomads, but we gather at sacred sites to trade, confer, and pay homage to the past. Aldrin is such a place. That's why
오빠.
Chodala invited the Red Exiles here. But these outcasts won't let me into their camp. I need... My brother, Chodala, is the Ashkan of our tribe, and I am his ambassador. I act as a go-between among the tribes. Chodala wants to unite the Dunma and calmly end the era of the bickering houses. He hopes to convince the tribes to follow his lead. Head into the Red Exiles camp and find my brother. Otherwise, see if you can find out what he was doing in there and where he's gone. Be wary of the outcasts. As you saw, they won't hesitate to attack without reason or provocation. No, just our tribe, the Urshilaku, though he's respected by most of the other Ashlanders for his wisdom and strength of will. He does hope to unite the tribes in a common cause, however. That's one of the reasons we've gathered here at Aldrin.
또 달라.
My brother and I have always worked to help our people and improve the Ashlander way of life. He used to believe that peaceful negotiation was the best path to accomplish this. Recently, however, things have become different. He's almost like... No, that's not something I'm ready to talk about with an outsider. Perhaps after you prove your trustworthiness and willingness to help us, then we can discuss my brother in more detail. Perhaps. That's not our goal, but the tribes will defend themselves if necessary. No, we hope to present a united front and show the houses the folly of the path they've embarked upon. Turning away from our forefathers and god ancestors has made them weak. The Red Exiles, they're violent, dangerous Ashlanders who were banished from their tribes and joined together to create their own clan. Chodala invited them to the gathering and went into the camp to talk, but he's been gone too long. I'm worried. As you saw, hostility is second nature to the Red Exiles. We're here to negotiate. They're no better than thieves and murderers. If they spot you in their camp, you'll need to
무조건 싸운다는
defend yourself.
얘기구만.
It's unfortunate, but they'll leave you no choice. You seem to have survived your visit to the Red Exiles camp. Did you find my brother? Interesting. I never suspected that the outcasts were disciplined enough to keep records such as this. Oh no. I can't believe my brother would be so... It means that Chodala really has changed. With his newfound powers and rising ambitions, I fear what he plans for the tribes. I suppose you have a right to know what I'm talking about. Take this. I found it among my brother's possessions. Chodala discovered new power out in the wilderness, and it changed his view of the world. He writes about it in that document. Now he believes he's a Nerevarine.
에레바리.
Incites the tribes while I try to keep them all from doing anything rash. You don't know? I thought... No, you're not an Ashlander. And the house elves rarely talk about such things. Long ago, there was a hero named Nerevar. He fought alongside the
그들의
tribunal
배신?
before they claimed to be gods, until they betrayed him. So our legends say, Nerevar united the Kaima and forged an alliance with the Dwemer. He died at the Battle of Red Mountain. We believe the tribunal hastened his demise, despite Vivek's claims to the contrary. The Nerevarine is a promise and a prophecy. We believe that, through the power of Azura, Nerevar will return to unite all Dunmer, House and Ashlander alike, and make Morrowind great again. The returned Nerevar will be known as the Nerevarine. While the prophecy of
아주라랑 관련이 있네.
Nerevarine can be interpreted as the end of the tribunal, I have always seen it as a prediction of hope and peace. Chodala and some Ashlanders, such as the Red Exiles, favor war. That's not the net. He uses in Ashkon's words to plant dark ideas in his followers. Ideas that speak of false gods, lost traditions, and the need for a cleansing war. His words become more forceful every day, but I hope to dissuade him. All I know is that his new power frightens me. Chodala returned from a sojourn in the wilderness more vibrant, more commanding. He's always been strong, but now he's fearless, practically invincible, and swifter than the fastest Ashlander scout. Chodala says his new abilities strengthen his claim as the Nerevarine. I think it's the staff he carries. He had it when he returned, and now it's always at his side. I know it's unreasonable, but I hate that staff. He calls it Sunara.
쓰나라.
Such displeasure and disappointment. Nothing works, even though every calculation is precise.
당했군.
Now an interruption. How infuriating. Wait. Sometimes the great divine energy. I'll have you know I participated in Lord Sotherseal's 9 analyses of the exalted enigmas. But we have more important matters. I'm about to determine the correlation between color and time, and I could use another set of hands. A reciprocal exchange. Interesting, yes. I can see the benefits of such an arrangement. Very well. Just activate the crystals in the proper sequence.
야, 폭파이라고?
Best chance
나
of
살려고
explaining
하다
it that
이게.
way. Such a waste repeating words. Activate the crystals in the proper order. It's all about colors, like a rainbow. Make a mistake and reset the mechanism using that lever, unless it explodes. You'll be surprised how often that happens. Perfect! Such are the benefits of an extra set of appendages. The energy flows freely and without disruption, allowing the rods and the pistons to align in a most pleasing manner. Thank you. Now, scent. How intriguing. I was just thinking about my former master, Sotherseal, and the experiments we conducted. He desperately sought to understand the power he and his companions attained. Not while I assisted him. He had a tool that he used to drain away minute bits of his own divine energy to store and study.
이게 설마 그 지팡이 아니야?
Not sure what became of the tool, but here are my notes. More questions. Well, Lord Sotherseal attributed curiosity to intellectual superiority. Suppose I should do the same. Ask, and I will attempt to tighten the cogs of your ongoing education as best I can. Odd question. Is a hammer a weapon? A saw? A Dwemer spring spanner? No, it was just a tool. A device crafted by Sotherseal to aid in his endless experiments. I suppose I could imagine ways to modify the device, but haven't a clue. Tools have a way of wandering off when you don't stay vigilant. Had a guar that used to swallow tools when I wasn't looking. Glowed for a month until the enchantment dissipated and the tool passed. Should have heard the screams. I was his apprentice, but that was years ago. Spent time working in the Clockwork City. That's what I learned about energy transference, Dwemer engineering, mechanical symmetry. Made me the dark elf I am today. But I have a question. Who sent you? The Archcanon, Lord Vivek's High Priest. Sadly, the gears align. I can think of a number of reasons that Alm and V would want to know about C and his tools, but some doors just shouldn't be opened. He's the father of mysteries.
시간?
Of time, one of the tribunal, the three living gods of the Dark Elves, creates all sorts of helpful and intriguing devices, like the Clockwork City. It's a wonder and a miracle. All brass tunnels, glass domes, and giant gears. He was inspired by the work of the Dwemer. The Clockwork City is pure so facile. He made it to forge the future and reshape the world. I learned a lot there.
Outlander, over here! This requires a considerable amount of effort, so just listen. We have a problem here. At last, did you see what's happening outside? Red Mountain rumbles louder and more frequently. The sky grows dark, and worst of all, the people are beginning to notice. Soon I'll have to muster the Ordinators to keep them from the palace doors. In part, Lord Vivek is not well. I won't allow his followers to see him in this state. He continues to lose energy, and it's becoming difficult for him to maintain the realm in his usual fashion. Now, what did your investigations uncover? I'll review these documents and present your findings to Lord Vivek. I was against bringing you into this investigation, but I was wrong. Thank you for aiding us. You should go see Lord Vivek now. He's been asking about you. I'll be along shortly. Very well. Tell me what you learned at each of the locations, and let's see what conclusions.
와. 파리자 소세시를 신선식을 가지고 실험하고 있다는 얘기를 해주었어.
Barrelzar faithfully served Sotha Seal. He's as loyal to the tribunal as I am. He would never intentionally harm Lord Vivek. But that tool he mentioned. Perhaps one of the priests Vivek sent away could search the... Lord Vivek doesn't want his followers to see him in such a weakened state. Only you, Canon Levuel, and myself are permitted into his palace now. Speaking of the palace, Lord Vivek wants to see you when we're done here. So your notes say, and this Saren assisted you. Interesting. Most Ashlanders want nothing to do with the tribunal. Even so, they rarely become aggressive. I'd say this Chodala bears watching. Interesting theory. Perhaps Chodala's staff can steal Vivek's energy. But I have a hard time imagining how an Ashlander could accomplish such a feat. Lord Vivek said the draining has grown more intense since you left. It doesn't look well. From what you discovered, I dare say there may be a correlation between the Nikon and the tool Barrelzal mentioned. And it seems the Ashlander thieves are connected to Chodala. Your evidence points to a clear conclusion. So it appears. Lord Vivek's doing his best not to complain, but I can see how much the draining of his energy has cost him. Just seeing you again should improve his mood considerably, and the progress you made with your...
My lord, please let me send for aid. Perhaps one of the healers can help you.
Pain is best tolerated in private, as I have written in the 37th ballad.
There must be something I can do.
You can call the Archcanon. He should hear the news our friend brings us. The river drains into the sea as my divinity flows out of me. Needs some work. As you can see, I continue to lose energy, and it has made me somewhat agitated. Have you made any progress toward discovering the source of my discomfort? An Ashland? That seems unlikely, but I trust your instincts. We need to find out more about this Chodala and the ancient enemy that aids him. Take this. Another token of my appreciation. Look. Here comes...
My lord, the Outlander may have actually discovered something.